Welcome to High Performance, the podcast for real estate agents featuring Josh Phegan and Alexander Phillips. Alexander, today we're going to talk about an important topic inside of anyone's life, and that's the ability to be able to handle and cope with stress. And there's lots of different stressful situations that come up in the course of being a real estate agent. Obviously you got the stresses about hitting target and walking into the sales meeting. Then you got stresses that you're taking on from other clients, maybe in markets where, they can't sell a property, there's needing to do significant price reductions. That actually means to them that maybe they're going to be entering into elements of financial distress. Also working into situations where you might have a divorcing couple and lots of things that are going on. And even internally, sometimes there's a team evolves that, people moving into new roles and not feeling comfortable in those roles. There's lots of stress that can come at you. Also to the time management stuff at different times of the year, when people start to see Christmas, things change, when you're moving into school holiday periods. And then there's different things that happen and you got to get stress tested in a market. What are some of the things that you have seen people go through? And have you helped them through it? And what are some of the mechanisms that you use to be able to manage the stress that comes at you in being a busy agent?
Josh, I think I'm quite lucky that I suppose like what we're talking about today, that the amount of listings that we've lost this week, we've got enough balls in the air that it doesn't stress us out. We're just going to move on to the next. I suppose it's mentally how you see yourself, but the thing is that I look at with the amount of business that we're doing is it's having the right people around you. So it's important that you can alleviate a lot of tasks, and you can let someone else do it that enjoys it and is going to help them grow, that allows you to do less and keeps you more mentally focused. So I look at some examples of scenarios that we've had recently, and it's having the right people around us, but it also, for me, it's having a lot of things planned throughout the year, not only holidays, but like a dinner I went out to last night with my girlfriend. We planned that a week in advance, had something to look forward to. Going to the gym every morning, which I actually find really clears your head. And if you've got some difficult things that are going to happen that day that you knew about the day before, well, that whole 45 minutes you're at the gym, you're talking through your head different scenarios and how you're going to tackle it. And that's the first call you make at 7:15 in the morning, and you just hit it on the head and you're done. And I think one of the first things I learned in real estate is make the hardest call of the day the first call, get it out of the way, alleviate that stress. It might be miss a listing, or you're going to lose a listing. You call that vendor, they tell you you've missed it, and you just move on.
And so sometimes I get people to write down and say, so what is it? And then what could be. So these are all the things right now that are putting pressure on, not getting home on time to be able to spend time with the family, financial stress that's going on in a situation, a vendor that you haven't been able to get a price reduction, a campaign that's not going well, but yet you haven't had the guts to have the conversation with the client. And so what could be? How could we change these situations? Well, let's get really firm on a finish time, on a couple of nights a week, so we're clearly communicating with our partner at home about when we're going to be there. Let's go maybe and have that confrontation or that conversation with that particular owner. And you know what? Just realize that it doesn't matter, because you can always hand back the agency agreement and the key and get rid of that stressful situation if someone's being unreasonable or maybe hasn't taken their medication for the day. And I think that's the important point, is that nothing's ever fatal or final. I think that the conversation here is that when you get into a stressful event, you've got to understand what to do to get out of it. And stress is usually that you want a completely different result than the one you've currently got. And for some people, they feel unclear about what the next steps are that they need to do in order to be able to go and get that conversion. Let's talk a little bit about time management stress in a diary, where you've got a lot of things coming at you in a day. How do you remain really present and quite centered through all of those different things that are happening?
Yeah, it's a good question, Josh. I think this is something that we do really well. It's planning, making sure I know how long my appraisals go for, and having enough time either side to get in the car, go the next one, follow up all the missed calls you've had, the messages, so you cleared out that extra half an hour of the amount of calls and messages you've had. But the way that we do it is at the end of each day, looking at your diary for the next day, getting to the office at 7:15, confirming all your appointments that day, which means it gets you in the right headspace, making sure that all of those appointments are present, making notes on all those appointments before you leave the office. And you're just so well set up, because all the team has got you the keys, they've got your brochures, they've got your listing packs, they've got your vendor reports, you've got absolutely everything ready to go. So you're prepared, and you're going into I go into every one of our meetings with everything I need and never fluster, because if I don't have it, you're not confident and you look like you're not you're actually present and know what you're talking about.
So how much here is like planning and routine an important part of what you do? Because, for me, I didn't realize that as much as one of my friends pointed out recently, that I'm very routine driven, in terms of the types of clothes that you wear, what time you turn up, what locations you go to for breakfast, lunch and dinner, the types of things you might even order on a menu. And what I've worked out is that I just try to reduce the number of unimportant decisions that need to get made each day, so then I can spend time with the energy to actually make the important decisions that are really going to significantly change the game. Would you say that you're routine driven? And if so, what are some of the routines that have set you up to be able to handle more levels of stress than what most people would be able to?
Yeah, extremely routine driven. I think that's what makes it less stressful. I know, I've got, before I go to bed at night, I've got my gym clothes out. So the minute I get up, I've got maximum sleep time. So it takes me a minute to get ready. I wake up at 5:15, leave at 5:20. I'm at the gym by 5:30 when it opens. I come back, my breakfast is ready. All my clothes are ironed, ready to go for that day. So I'm out the door at 7:15. And it just happens every single day like that. So I'm not rushing around. I'm not, stressed about what I have to do even before I get to the office. It's all there ready to go because I've set it up that way. And I think what that does is obviously gives you more time to do what's important to you as an agent, which is, list, sell, negotiate. And it just, it creates an easier life around you, which makes it so much easier just in general to make sure that you're present and don't have the look of stress in your face, which I think vendors can see, and that obviously gives them some fear about, is their house being sold the right way or do they have the right agent appointed?
And often I think too is it's about getting really clear on your commitments and be careful what you say yes to, and be prepared to say no, to different things that are actually going to put too much load on you. And I think that when you look at the law of complexity is that a lot of people just pile on one commitment after another, and the next commitment and the next commitment and the next commitment, and not realizing that, you're not endlessly able to commit and actually deliver on every single one of those promises. So choose the things that are really important for you. Realize that if you're in a stressful event, then that's okay. There are other people that you can talk to. Pick up the phone, talk to one of us, have a conversation about it, and actually think about what solutions might be creatively to be able to get that. And I'll never forget that in one of the very first presentations I ever saw when I first came into real estate. And the speaker of the day turned around and said, the most important thing is that a renegotiated agreement is not a broken agreement. So if you need extra time, if there's a situation that needs to be evolved, then you can actually just go forward and ask for that, and that might actually take all that stress away. So understand why stress happens to you, what can you do to build a routine to get around it, and who are the people that you can go and have conversations with that can give you a different perspective to make it a little bit easier for you in that next part of your growth.